Have you ever walked into a place for the first time and felt a sudden chill of recognition? Not just familiarity, but something deeper, as if you had already been there, as if you had seen it before, in a dream. Maybe it was a city street in a country you'd never visited. Maybe it was a specific building layout, a staircase, a window view, a quiet corner of a cafe. And when you finally saw it in real life, a thought hit you. I've dreamed this before. In that moment, it can feel extraordinary, almost supernatural. Did your dream predict the future? Did your mind somehow access a place before you ever physically experienced it? Today, we're going to explore this carefully, without exaggeration, without dismissing personal experiences, and without claiming more than science supports. Because the explanation, while not mystical, is far more fascinating than it first appears. The experience is commoner than you think. First, you are not alone. Many people report dreaming about a place before ever consciously visiting it. Later, when they encounter a similar location, the sense of recognition can be intense and emotional. Psychologists often group this type of experience alongside phenomena like déjà vu, the feeling that a present moment has happened before. But here's something important. Feeling certain about a memory does not guarantee that the memory is accurate in detail. Human memory is powerful, but it is not a perfect recording device, and that matters. How dreams are constructed. To understand what might be happening, we need to understand how dreams are formed. During REM sleep, your brain becomes highly active. In many ways, brain activity during REM resembles wakefulness. However, the prefrontal cortex, the part involved in logical reasoning and critical evaluation, is less active. At the same time, emotional centers are active, memory networks are active, visual processing areas are active. Your brain begins combining fragments of stored memories, not full memories, fragments. A staircase from one house, a streetlight from another city, a hallway similar to your childhood school, a building shape from a movie you watched years ago. Dreams are constructed from pieces of prior experience, even if you don't consciously remember those pieces. So when you dream of a place that feels completely new, it is almost always a recombination of locations you've already seen in some form, in person, in photos, in films, or even briefly in passing. Your brain is an architect, and dreams are simulations. The brain as a prediction machine. Modern neuroscience often describes the brain as a prediction machine. Your brain constantly anticipates the world based on patterns. Even while awake, it is predicting what a room will look like before you enter it, how a street might turn, what a building interior should resemble. When you dream, that predictive system keeps working. It runs simulations. It generates environments that are statistically plausible. If you have seen enough city streets, your brain can generate a new one that feels realistic because it is built from pattern averages. Later, when you visit a real location that shares enough structural similarity to your dream simulation, your brain detects overlap, and that overlap triggers recognition. Not because you've been there before, but because your dream was built from similar building blocks. Memory reconstruction. Now we come to one of the most important psychological principles involved. Memory is reconstructive. Every time you recall a memory, including a dream, you subtly rewrite it. You do not replay it like a video file. You reconstruct it using fragments, emotion, and narrative coherence. Here's what often happens. You once had a vague dream about a place. Months or years later, you visit a location. The location triggers a feeling of familiarity. Your brain searches for a source. It retrieves the dream memory. It reshapes the dream memory to better match the current environment. This process is not lying, it is normal cognition. The brain prioritizes coherence. It tries to make experiences fit into a meaningful story. And when the match feels strong enough, the conclusion feels obvious. I dreamed this, even if the original dream was far less detailed than the current memory suggests. The role of déjà vu. Researchers believe déjà vu may occur when the brain's familiarity system activates without a clear source memory attached. In other words, something feels familiar even though you cannot consciously identify why. If that familiarity sensation overlaps with a remembered dream, your brain may connect the two. The emotional intensity amplifies the certainty. But emotional intensity is not proof of predictive power. It is proof that the experience mattered to you. Probability and pattern overlap. Let's consider probability. Over your lifetime, you will have tens of thousands of dreams, visit hundreds or thousands of locations, watch films, scroll through images, see architecture online. Your brain stores enormous visual data. Statistically speaking, some dreamed environments will resemble future real-world locations, not because of prophecy, but because human architecture follows patterns. Cities share structural similarities, buildings follow common design principles, nature follows repeating forms. If your dream included a narrow street, a corner cafe, a stone staircase, a particular window style, there are thousands of real-world places matching that description. Eventually, overlap becomes likely, and when overlap occurs, it feels profound, but it is often pattern convergence. Unconscious exposure. Another key factor is unconscious exposure. You may have seen a photo years ago, watched part of a documentary, scrolled past an image online, glimpsed a location in a travel video. Even if you do not consciously remember it, your brain may have encoded fragments. Later, those fragments appear in a dream. Then, when you visit the place in real life, recognition feels mysterious, but the data was already there, hidden, not prophetic. Why the experience feels so powerful. Now let's address something important. Even if there is no supernatural prediction involved, the emotional impact is real. When reality aligns with imagination, it creates a powerful sense of meaning. Humans are pattern-seeking beings. We are wired to detect significance. When two independent experiences align, dream and reality, the brain flags it as important. That importance can feel spiritual, cosmic, or destiny-driven, but the feeling of destiny does not confirm destiny. It confirms emotional salience, and emotional salience is deeply human. What science does not support. It is important to be clear. There is currently no reliable, reproducible scientific evidence demonstrating that dreams can access specific future locations through supernatural means. When studied under controlled experimental conditions, predictive dreaming has not consistently produced results beyond chance. Science requires repeatability. So far, location-based precognition has not met that standard. That does not invalidate personal experiences, but it does limit what we can responsibly conclude. A more grounded interpretation. So, what is the most balanced explanation? When you feel like you dreamed a place before seeing it, several mechanisms may be interacting. Dream simulation built from memory fragments, predictive brain modeling, pattern overlap, unconscious exposure, memory reconstruction, déjà vu-like familiarity signals, emotional amplification. Together, they can create a convincing experience of prophecy without requiring supernatural explanation. And honestly, that combination is remarkable on its own. Your brain is capable of constructing entire environments from memory fragments. It can simulate plausible realities.
It can detect structural similarities. It can generate powerful emotional coherence. That is not mystical, it is neurological brilliance. Conclusion. So, did you really dream that place before seeing it? Possibly, but not because your mind traveled into the future. More likely because your brain built a simulation from stored patterns. Later, reality matched enough of that simulation to trigger recognition. Memory filled in the rest. The experience feels extraordinary because your brain is extraordinary. Dreams may not be portals to future locations, but they are windows into how the mind constructs reality, and in many ways, that is even more fascinating. If you've ever had a dream that seemed to match reality later, you're not alone. Instead of asking, "Did I predict the future?" you might ask, "What patterns was my brain already noticing?"